And that was our go-home show to the Royal Rumble 2020. What did it have to do with the Royal Rumble? I'm still trying to figure that out, and here we are the next morning. That's probably not a good thing when we have to reach for anything and everything that had any significance for the Rumble. But that's the MO of this company. They're gonna make you work extra hard as a fan to try to decode what they're doing. We started the show off setting up a tag team championship match between Rollins and Murphy versus the Viking Raider Experience Adventure. What does that have to do with the Rumble? It's rhetorical. Nothing. In fact, by the end of the night, the titles changed hands to Murphy and Rollins. Not even the main event, just in the middle of Raw. You couldn't have waited to the actual Rumble to make the titles seem important. The titles actually changed hands at a big pay-per-view. You couldn't make the participants in the match, especially your champions, the Viking Raiders, you couldn't make them feel and seem important. This whole title reign was just to drop them in the middle of Raw like every other title usually. Rollins, by the time his career is through, he's going to have a tag team championship reign with every superstar on the roster. Am I correct? Does he not own the record for the most tag team champion partners? I recall him holding the championships with Roman Reigns. I recall him holding the championships with Dean Ambrose. He's held the straps with Braun Strowman. I even remember Rollins and Jason Jordan holding the tag team championships. That's a true story. Now he's holding the tag team championships with Buddy Murphy. This guy's gonna have a tag team championship reign with every superstar by the time it's all said and done. That's how we started Monday Night Raw last night, the go-home show. Setting up this nonsensical tag team situation, which we're gonna talk a lot more about later on in the review, I assure you. But how did we end the go-home show to the Royal Rumble? Oh, I'll tell you, if you really want to hear. Brace yourself. Rusev and Bobby Lashley, that storyline, or lack thereof, they actually ended the go-home show to the Royal Rumble. When we told Vincent Kennedy McMahon, we told the old man in Stamford, Connecticut time and time again that this story was just not connecting with us. We're glad you're taking the time to finally invest in a story, but Vince, this one isn't working. Or can it be tweaked to a way where we're actually entertained? The majority of us. He refused. Instead, he kept parading them out there. 1 month of this feud turned into 2 months. We kept telling him, Vince, this is bad, this is boring, we don't like it. 2 months turned into 3 months. Here we are in our 4th month. 4th month of Lashley and Rusev, and it is the ending, it's the ending visual in all of our dome pieces leading into the Royal Rumble. That was your main event last night. That's how stubborn the old man is. Because his way of thinking is, I know what you like better than you know what you like. We tell him we don't like it, he says, yeah, I'm gonna give you more of it. That's Vince McMahon giving all of us a big FU. Trust me, it's Vince McMahon giving us a smack across our dome pieces. That's what it is. I know this dude all too well. It's not a coincidence that that was ending the go-home show in 2020 to get us to the Royal Rumble. And Liv Morgan, don't even get me started. This is someone who had all the potential in the world when she came back to be a shining star, and she was gonna do it on character, on merit, on skill, because she is improving drastically. Not just by being one of Vince's Blonde Brigade bombshells. No, this was going to be Liv Morgan resting on her own status. What she created for herself. Long before WWE was hyping up this repackaged Liv, Liv was doing it on her own social media. She was telling everyone she's coming back better than ever, repackaged. Vince got his hands all over it, and she came back for a Lana storyline, rolling around in wedding cake. And when he received that huge backlash, because it was huge backlash, do your research, you'll see. Every media outlet was even bashing this thing. But what does he do? The very next week, instead of rectifying his wrongs, he has Liv in a 15-second backstage interview segment. That was it. And then last week, she's getting a cup of Pepsi thrown in her face and then chucked into a barricade. Lana makes light work, basically flicks Liv aside. And then last night, she's losing her first televised match back. This repackaged Liv doesn't look so repackaged. Same old jobber that I remember back in the Riot Squad. And don't you dare try to tell me, BC, don't worry, man. She just came back. Relax. There's going to be big things to come. Don't tell me that. You don't have any evidence of that. I have evidence that this is actually ruining her if she's not already, because we've seen characters ruined from the jump from this dude and from this company. I have evidence of that. You don't have evidence that it's going to be okay. Everybody likes to tell me that when I have problems with booking. Oh, it's going to get better. Relax. Don't worry. There's plenty of time. Or they just came back. Exactly. They just came back. And I just showed you the booking of her last month back. She's been back for 1 full month, 4 episodes. Go back to the 4 episodes that Liv Morgan has been back and you tell me it's going to get better and you show me the evidence that you have. Because I have evidence that says it's not going to get better. In fact, why waste time? Why not give her the 10-bell salute now and mourn the loss of Liv Morgan's career? Why not do it? Make it as painless as possible. Why string this along and everybody suffer? Let's just give Liv Morgan the 10-bell salute now. Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to mourn the loss of Liv Morgan's career. Thanks to the old man in Stamford, Connecticut. May you all bow your heads for a moment of silence as we salute Liv Morgan's career with such 10-bell salute. I'm not gonna do the 10th. That's a refusal to do the 10th. She's gonna hang on 9 bells right now. Like 9 lives in a fucking feline, right? No, she's gonna get a 10th life right now. I'm gonna hang it on 9 bells because I see something in Liv still. Even though the old man is gonna try to ruin it. Even though the old man is gonna do everything in his power for me to ring that bell the 10th time. I ain't gonna do it. There's something in Liv. Her skill level keeps on improving. But a character in her. You see it in her eyes. There's more that she has to offer. There's personality. There's charisma in her that's waiting to be oozed out. She's just not getting the right platform. You give her that and she is something special, I assure you. At this point, it is a refusal by this dude to do such. But I am not going to ring it a 10th time. Because I am holding out that last bit of hope for Liv Morgan. I have no reason to, based on this old man and how he does business, but I'm holding out because I believe in Liv Morgan that much. And then you have Ricochet last night. What was he doing? This dude picked Ven to be a tough guy? He goes out just for shits and giggles and tries to pick a fight with Brock Lesnar. What the fuck are you doing? And then he goes out there acting like a tough guy. Brock just gives him one little kick to the groin section. And Ricochet is falling faster. He's tumbling faster than Otis trying to retrieve a fallen piece of cake. Ricochet drops like a ton of bricks. Brock Lesnar's like, scared. What are you... I could literally take your body parts off right now. What are you talking about, dude? And Brock Lesnar is probably trying to hold back laughter more so than how much he laughed last week with R-Truth. Freaking Rick, if you're going to go up and try to pick a fight with Brock Lesnar just because, at least go up there. I mean, I would have a cup on. I would be suited up like a hockey player, double padded. I'd be like a hockey goalie going in there. I'd have pads on top of pads if I know I'm going to pick a fight with Brock Lesnar just because. Brock Lesnar is one of those dudes you fight because you have to, not just because you want to. But he's a residential superhero, so he probably thinks in his own dome piece, hey, I can do this. Book me that way, Vince, I got this. And then he goes out there and he's talking to the crowd as if he's just at a restaurant and he's talking across the table. The guy, Ricochet, does not ooze any spark or any amplification. There's no passion in his words. I love Ricochet for his talent, but damn, this guy's got to get that charisma, man. He's got to have a larger-than-life personality if we're supposed to talk to him in the lines of superhero status. Super Becky and Super Ricochet. Come on, man. Ricochet's been on that roster long enough. He's got to get charisma, personality. There's no reason I should be more amplified than Ricochet. And this dude thinks he's going to do what to Brock Lesnar? And we're all at home supposed to what? Believe that this 5 foot whatever dude is going to go in there and do what to Brock? I understand Brock has good matches with smaller dudes. We've seen it with Daniel Bryan, AJ Styles, Finn Balor, and he would have a damn good match with Ricochet. At what point do we stop believing it, though? We can't believe that every small dude in the world can take Brock Lesnar to the limit. At some point, Brock Lesnar has to look like Brock Lesnar. What you saw last night was embarrassing for Ricochet, but it's realistic. I honestly believe in real life, Brock Lesnar would do one thing to Ricochet and he would fall like a ton of bricks. So we start the show off with the Architects of Pain, middle of the ring, where Rollins is thanking all of us for turning him into the Monday Night Messiah. Owens and Joe end up hitting the top of the ramp, where Rollins then says, "Come down to the ring and dance with destiny." This is where Samoa Joe gets on the mic and says, "No, you didn't hear us correct. We're not the only ones looking for a fight." And the Viking Raider Adventure Experience ends up hitting the ramp, and before you knew it, it was Joe, Owens, and the Raiders clearing the ring, and the Architects of Pain were retreating. The entire first segment lasted about 15 minutes in length, and this of course set up the Tag Team Championship match for later in the night. Viking Raider Adventure Experience versus Murphy and Rollins. And a lot of people thought it was going to be the Authors of Pain, the AOP, that fought for those tag titles. But when we came back from commercial from that first segment, we went directly backstage where Rollins laid down the challenge and specifically said it would be him and Murphy. So I don't know why a lot of people were misinformed, because Rollins absolutely said him and Murphy. Now I know a lot of people were hoping it was going to be AOP or thought it should be AOP. I'm probably one of them if I gave it more thought. But it doesn't deserve more thought. Let's be honest. If it was AOP who won the titles last night, it's not going to do them any more good than it did the Viking Raider Experience Adventure. If the old man in Stamford, Connecticut doesn't have a plan for them, the titles will be meaningless. Trust me, guys. We all like to say something would have been better than the other thing just because. And we may be right just because. These days, we probably don't even need a reason. Because the old man in Stamford, Connecticut doesn't have a reason for anything he does. Why should we? But what does it make a difference? Murphy and Rollins or the AOP, it doesn't matter. This was 6 days before the Rumble. Nobody's coming out looking like gold here. Buddy Murphy gains the most. But AOP wasn't going to gain anything from this. They were just going to drop it sooner rather than later to Owens and Joe anyway. These are transition champions. This is obvious. Seth Rollins is always a transition champion with these type of tag titles. Him and Murphy are just going to get it over to Owens and Joe. Will they wait till WrestleMania or will it be February Elimination Chamber pay-per-view? Who knows? But would you rather have AOP holding it for just 1 month and then dropping it to Joe? I mean, what's it going to do? BC, yeah, they could have made a good story. Yeah, they could have done a lot of things. Do you honestly hold your breath with this company? I don't care which 2 members of the Architects of Pain won the tag titles. It was stupid to do it 6 nights before Royal Rumble. That's the biggest issue that I have. Number 2, it's a transitional championship reign anyway. Doesn't matter. We'll talk a little bit more about that when the match actually arises a little bit later in the show. The first matchup of the night was a United States Championship ladder match. This was Andrade taking on Mysterio. This was a really physical match, not so much because of what they had planned, but more so what didn't go according to plan. Because every time they tried to do a spot square into the ladder, it was off the mark. And it was a sort of botching. And each time they were off the mark, each time they botched, we all cringed at home. It just looked painful, I'm sure, to them, but it was even painful for us watching at home. This match was very physical, and it was just... It was messy. It was, but you have to at least give them credit that they went out there and tried what they did out there. Andrade, this is not his specialty kind of match, and Rey Mysterio is not a spring chicken anymore. For those two dudes to go out there and perform like they did, I'll throw them a few mulligans. I'll allow a few botches in that, right? Who are we to say, man? That was a damn good match. When this thing was all said and done, as Rey Mysterio was ascending the ladder, Zelina is waiting for him at the top. She's perched up there, sitting down, and she's like, you ain't going anywhere. And she smacks the taste out of Mysterio's mouth like a true ride or die. That little bit of a distraction was enough for Andrade to get to Mysterio mid-ladder, hook him up in the DDT, and sent him through another ladder below. In this one, they both went through it. So this one, they landed the mark. And it looked pretty devastating. At this point, Zelina, again, the true ride or die that she is, wills Andrade basically up the ladder where Andrade retrieves his United States Championship and still champion Andrade. But a solid performance. I can't say it was a good performance by Mysterio, but a solid performance. And there's no way we can applaud what both men did in that ring. Post-match, Humberto ends up attacking Andrade to the point where Andrade finally retreats with Zelina, but they have the ultimate prize, so they're okay with that. Now, when Raw went off the air, they had a WWE exclusive interview with Humberto where he officially laid down the challenge to Andrade for Royal Rumble. So if that match isn't official as of the filming of this video, by the end of this video filming, I bet you that match will be made official. But look for the Royal Rumble to have Humberto and Andrade be an official match. Our number one ends with a 15-second squash match. This was Aleister Black taking on not-so-smart Niles. And let's just say Aleister Black knocked not-so-smart Niles' dome piece off, square off his shoulders, with a black mass. Another devastating black mass. But it seems like I say that every week. I don't know if I've ever seen a black mass that was not devastating. And I call his opponent not-so-smart Niles because this dude, when the bell rang, just charges at Aleister Black. Not the smartest thing to do because, again, he has that little thing in his arsenal called a black mass. Our number two kicks off with Paul Heyman and Brock Lesnar. Heyman hypes up Brock in this Sunday's Rumble, and Ricochet ends up interrupting. Heyman warns Ricochet, basically, the adults are trying to talk here, so it's best if you just go back to the back. Ricochet declines and says, no, I'm good right here. And instead, he gets into the ring and challenges Lesnar to a fight. Lesnar goes to walk away, but Ricochet says, what's wrong, Brock? You scared? Brock Lesnar has this smirk, gets back in the ring, gives him a low blow with a right foot right to his groin area. You have Ricochet, again, as I used earlier, tumbling faster than Otis trying to retrieve a fallen piece of cake. Ricochet just drops like a ton of bricks. Brock grabs the mic, looks over Ricochet and says, nope, not scared. And Brock just walks away like, what are these little dudes doing, he's probably thinking. This is adorable to a point. Now it's just annoying. That's probably what Brock is thinking, right? Storyline-wise and in real life, when he gets to the arena and Vince tells him what he's going to do. Ricka who? Eco Shay? What? Who is this guy? He comes up to him. I'm like, what is Vince? This is what Brock is probably thinking in real life. But Vince, do you not have anybody that's like my size? Braun Strowman was it? Oh my god, man. So anyway, and again, I liked Ricochet. I still like Ricochet. This whole superhero thing that they're trying to push on us is just odd, and I don't like the fact that Ricochet has been on that roster long enough, and he still doesn't have a defined personality. He still doesn't have a character that is jumping off the screen. You have to do more than tell me he's a superhero. This guy, when he was talking, it sounded like he was legit just talking at a bar with one of his buddies. And he's got thousands of people in the crowd. He's supposed to get amplified. Why am I more amplified than Ricochet and he's about to go fight Brock Lesnar? Not cool. So anyway, this just hypes up Brock being in the Rumble, I guess. And I guess at some point, R-Truth, last week there was an altercation with Truth and Brock. I guess at the Rumble, R-Truth will probably have another face-to-face with Brock. I guess they're going to have Ricochet have a face-to-face with Brock. What are you going to tell me? Ricochet is going to be the one to throw out Brock Lesnar? What? Are you going to set up a Ricochet Brock Lesnar WrestleMania main event? Yes, on one hand, we'll say, hey, great for Ricochet. He's getting the ultimate push. On the other hand, I just told you guys, he ain't larger than life. We were hoping once he got that main roster rub, and they actually did give him a push, that he was going to find a whole new personality and characteristic to tap into. That never happened. If anything, Ricochet is more subdued now than even in NXT. Very odd with him. Moving on, the first matchup of the second hour. This was a pretty damn good one on paper. This was McIntyre versus Orton. They started slower than I would have liked, but as this match went on, it picked up beautifully. Unfortunately, right when it was getting really good, the OC ends up interfering. Of course, Orton ends up post-match clearing the ring via a steel chair, and even RKO's McIntyre after the match. Now I know, you're thinking BC, they were facing each other, why not? But after Orton cleared the ring, him and McIntyre kind of had like a bonding moment. I don't think they actually shook hands, but there was a bonding moment. Orton went right up to McIntyre's face and said, I will say this, you're one tough son of a bitch. And then he was to walk away, but then he turns around and McIntyre had his chance to get Orton first, but instead the Viper attacked. So I love this because when Orton walked off after the RKO, Drew, who's still down on the mat, grabs the mic and says, Randy! Randy! His mic was working, but he thought he couldn't hear himself, so he asked for a mic that worked. So he ended up getting a second mic. Randy Orton was still out there, obviously, and McIntyre said, that one was on me. I should have Claymore'd you when I had the chance, but you got me first. That one's on me. But Sunday, I'm Claymoreing your dome piece off your shoulders. So I love this. First of all, I love Orton and McIntyre just on the mic with one another, but then in the ring face to face before they even deliver a move to one another. I love the psychology with both these superstars. Both of them deliver this cool old school aspect that has been missing in this business. Not just this company, but in this business. That old school psychology is deep within Randy Orton and deep within McIntyre. You put them in the same ring together or in the same storyline, it's pretty much magic and gold. The end of hour number 2 saw Becky Lynch versus Kairi Sane. Becky grabs the mic pre-match and tells Asuka, yes, you beat me last year at the Royal Rumble, but I went on to headline all over the world. You went on to YouTube to make soup. I love that line by Becky Lynch. It was funny. But in Asuka's defense, she was probably way more relevant on YouTube in 2019 before she won the tag titles. She was probably way more relevant on YouTube than what Vince McMahon was allowing her to do in WWE. She wasn't even getting TV time half the time. So I don't blame her. She went over to YouTube, made a ton of money. If she's showing ads anyway, I know she's deep into the 100,000 plus viewership. So, I mean, she's doing pretty damn good. I'll tell you that much. But if Vince was booking you like she was booked in 2019, you would do the same thing. But I still love how Becky put that. It was really great. Kairi in this match. Kairi still looks very off to me. She seems very off to me. No big spots for Kairi in this match. She wasn't even hitting the ropes hard. Go back and watch Kairi hit the ropes. I mean, she never goes full throttle anyway, but she wasn't even, I mean, she was barely grazing the ropes when she would hit them. Very timid, very cautious. She was lacking intensity. Very non-Kairi-esque. Very odd to me, and I still feel like she's just not fully right from her concussion. I really think that her latest injury really took her out. And I know some people think it's because, she's not all with it anymore as far as being in WWE. Her mind is already out and she's exiting. That's BS. That's degrading Kairi Sane. And that's not cool, man. Kairi Sane is a consummate professional. She could be leaving tomorrow, and she will give you 110% if she can. So anybody that thinks she's just not showing up because her mind is elsewhere, so she just, screw it. Who cares? I'm out of here soon. That's not Kyrie. She's a professional. So she's not just what they call in the business, calling it in or phoning it in. No, she is literally going out there and giving 110% if she can. That leads me to believe that there's still something not totally right as far as injury-wise. But Kyrie could be leaving tomorrow and she's still going to give you a dynamic match. To say that she just isn't trying, no. I saw a lot of that on social media. That's a bunch of BS. Kyrie Sane is better than that. And I understand a lot of females might do that, but obviously you don't know Kyrie Sane. She is a professional, and she will go out there and she will wrestle because she has never once proved us wrong when we say that she always goes out there and gives her opponent the best that she has so that she can get the best out of them. She's not going to be selfish and make the match horrible just because she's leaving soon. I hope that makes sense. I saw a lot of that on social media, and it kind of perturbed me because that's not Kyrie Sane. That was the end of hour number 2. Hour number 3 kicked off with that aforementioned tag team title match. This was Rollins and Murphy, Rollins and Murphy, the challengers, taking on champions Viking Raiders. This was a decent tag match, actually, with a shock finish. Even though we all knew it was a very real possibility that Rollins and Murphy could win those belts, we also knew it would be a pretty bold move to do such. But that's what Vince McMahon did. Rollins and Murphy ended up defeating the Viking Adventure and became the new tag team champions, guys, last night. As I left over on Twitter, I'm happy for Murphy, but did this need to happen 6 nights before the Royal Rumble? That's rhetorical. Of course not. And you talk about lowering the Raiders' stock even more than it was? Well, this is the type of match that'll literally put them into irrelevancy. So where they go from here, that remains to be seen, and that's going to be something I'm going to keep a keen eye on. But as far as last night, they decided to pull the trig and put the money and put the straps onto Rollins and Murphy. Again, a lot of people wanted to see AOP in that role, but did you really? Did you really need to see them have a lackluster title reign that's just a transitional run to get it over to Owens and Joe? They were going to be booked about as good as the Viking Raiders, and we all know how that turned out. So it doesn't really matter what transitional champs they put the belts on. Let's just get it done with. Joe and Owens makes a formidable badass team. I'm looking forward to seeing them as a tag team, and I'm also looking forward to seeing the destruction that they cause with the championships as a bonus. Pretty damn cool. But we have new tag team champions, guys. They actually did that on the go-home show to the Royal Rumble. They couldn't have just built this up a little bit. They couldn't have just done it at a big pay-per-view like the Rumble to make the tag team championship seem more important and the individuals that are participating in the match more important. Of course not. It's WWE. We'll do it right in the middle of a Monday Night Raw. Next up, Matt Hardy takes on Eric Rowan. At one point, Rowan was bit again by whatever is in his cage. He then took that cage in anger and repeatedly slammed it into the steel steps. Hardy tried to gain the upper hand via the distraction, but to no avail. Rowan ended up catching him with the, that skull choke slam? Skull slam? I forgot what the hell he calls it. But he grabs you on that crane slam, maybe is what he calls it. He grabs you by the dome piece and he puts you down, and there was no way Hardy was getting up from that. 1, 2, 3, Eric Rowan wins this match in just a few minutes. Now, after this match, not too long after, Hardy went over to social media and he said, "Thank you guys, I'm trending number 17 worldwide for my string of Raw losses." And he says, at this point, enjoy them while you can because I don't see many more in my future. So a lot of people are alluding to the fact that he's going to be leaving soon. Or is he just teasing a rehaul in character? Nobody really knows yet. The verdict is still out. We don't know if he's going to re-sign or take off. But he keeps on leaving these cryptic tweets that are telling people, or at least making people think that he is leaving. But don't be surprised if he does re-sign. We don't know yet. You guys know I love Matt Hardy, man. I love the Hardy Boys as a whole. So I want nothing but the best for them, and I know how brilliant Matt Hardy is because the dude is brilliant. He's there with Bray Wyatt as far as their creativity. I'm telling you guys right now, there's not a lot that I can count in the wrestling business that are uber creative, Bray Wyatt and Matt Hardy are at the top of the list. So whatever Hardy decides to do in the future, if he has creative freedom, it's going to be epic. We've seen it many times in Hardy's career. Now backstage, Mojo Rawley is being interviewed by Charlie Caruso when the Singh brothers appear. One of them tries to cause a distraction, the other tries to roll Mojo up. Now, this was good to see because any other time in the existence of the 24/7 championship, a simplistic roll-up defeats everybody. However, this time, Mojo was like, what are you doing? He takes Singh number one and he chucks him into some of the equipment backstage. He takes the other Singh brother, and I think he totally ramboozled him a little bit. A couple of wabakas, and he was down and out. The Singh brothers were taken out in 0.4 seconds. Mojo's like, next, as he's hitting his championship along the way. I like this, man. Are they going to make the 24/7 championship prestigious? Probably not. Should it be? Probably not. But at least it's going to be a little bit more held in higher standards than what it's been. ESPN broadcasters, weathermen on local news channels, I mean, everybody's winning that championship. It should have been just for the boys, for bragging rights in the locker room. Then it would have been fun. Now everybody underneath the sun is winning that championship. Mojo is going to bring a little bit more of a toughness and roughness to the championship, and if that's the case, I'm down with it. We'll see. Maybe this will do something with Mojo. It's a lot better than what we've been getting with the 24/7 championship, and it's a lot better than what we've been getting with Mojo. So it's a double win for me, and the entire segment lasted less than 70 seconds. And a 3-hour show, I got 70 seconds to try to make things better. The main event, this was Bobby Lashley and Lana taking on Rusev and Liv Morgan. So proud of how much Liv Morgan is improving in that ring. We saw it before she took the hiatus, and we're seeing it already now that she's back. She is just constantly improving and getting better and better. And you guys saw that last night. And Rusev taking the hardcore spear at the finish of this by Lashley. That was probably, if not the best, one of the best spears that I've ever seen Lashley deliver to anybody. And Rusev ended up eating this L like Pac-Man last night. Lashley and Lana win the match. Mention how good Liv looked last night too, and it's, I mean, you guys go back, you've seen it. The Inseguri was probably one of the best Inseguris I've seen any female put up in all of time. Unfortunately, it was in a losing effort, and that's what I mean. BC, what's the issue, man? She's only been back a month. That's the problem. She's only been back a month. They put her in a feud with Lana. I mean, after all of this hype that WWE didn't even intend. I mean, we were just anticipating something really big for Liv. She was teasing it on her own. Then WWE started teasing it. She comes back for a Lana feud. Last week, she's getting soda thrown in her face and thrown into a barricade. Lana's like, get out of here, will you? Treating her like a little stepsister. And then all of a sudden this week, she's losing her first match back. Like, actual match on TV. I mean, if you don't see a problem with that, then that's awesome. I do, because I know these type of things can ruin characters going forward. We like to say, oh, there's plenty of time. Oh, she just came back. Oh, they'll get it right. Big things are to come, BC. No, this company has shown you time and time again that is not true. Look at the facts, guys. I've done my research. So this was just another one of those odd go-home shows. It's one of the biggest pay-per-views of the year. This kicks off WrestleMania season. So there's a hype and an interest there anyway. And with Royal Rumble, at least the big main event match is the Royal Rumble. The main event for all of us anyway. So we don't need any specific storyline to try to captivate us. But still, in a 3-hour Raw go-home show to the big pay-per-view, you still want to be captivated. You still want a lot of stuff that is so intriguing, you can't wait till the Rumble. I don't know if they did that last night. In fact, I'm being nice. I'm being generous. They didn't do that. This go-home show didn't have really anything to do with the Rumble. Of course, everything is going to stem from it. Everything will be affected from last night going to the Rumble, but I don't feel anything had really anything of significance to do with the Rumble at all. Just a very odd go-home show, and again, the fact that they They wanted their last impression to the Royal Rumble to be Rusev, Bobby Lashley, and Lana's storyline. This old man is that stubborn that he will not give in. You're not just ruining it for the fans, Vince. You're ruining it for your own company. Does this guy realize that, or is he just at that age where he just doesn't care, right? Kairi Sane is not phoning it in, right? She's not just resting on her laurels because she's going somewhere. But Vince McMahon, it looks like he is resting on his laurels. He's resting on what he's done in the past. He no longer cares what we think. He doesn't care how we're feeling about the product. As long as he's making that Fox $1 billion and other countries are giving him tens of millions of dollars, he doesn't care who's showing up to the arenas. He doesn't care how many people are watching at home. He doesn't care if merchandise isn't pumping out like it used to. He's still making his money. You don't want to see Lashley and Rusev and Lana for 4 months straight? We're going to give it to you anyway in 2020. We'll be seeing this feud, or lack thereof, come WrestleMania time, probably. Wouldn't doubt it with this guy. That was the Go Home Show. Perhaps there'll be an impromptu video tomorrow, guys, but definitely Thursday we'll have a double video upload day. The NXT review and the AEW review. The 50th podcast is this week as well. Who knows what I got planned? I got a little something actually planned. I'm not going to lie. It's something pretty big, so the 50th should be pretty cool. And then, of course, SmackDown's Go Home Show is later this week as well for the Royal Rumble. So a lot of content to come on the channel. Much love and respect to all you guys as always. Rock out the rest of this Tuesday, and I'll see you this week for a ton of content. The Amplified Man. Yeah! Yeah, baby! The Amplified Man. Fix that shit. Yeah! Check you later.